What's up, space pirates? This is your Admiral, the engagingly eccentric Dr. Disaster, and you would think that being a video game company would be a very simple thing. You come up with an idea for a game, you hire some developers to make it, you hire social media experts to tell people all about it, and then you put the game out for sale. And along the way, you maybe take some criticism. It should be that easy. But unfortunately, too many of these game studios have decided that the last layer of their business that I mentioned there, taking criticism, is not important.
Why would you think that? Why would you even think that?
This manifests itself in a lot of ways. Often, community managers and even developers of the game themselves get all butthurt about gamers criticizing their work. They get combative and start tussling with the gaming community, straining relationships. They make it personal, and this is really not good for the eventual outcome of what happens with a game and a studio. As an example, the headline of this old article here tells us that a developer for the reimagined Perfect Dark got angry at gamers and said that gamers were a mistake. And how did that turn out? Perfect Dark was just announced to be freaking canceled.
You have done that yourself!
Maybe that game would still be around if the studio making it would have listened to the fans, but recently, some of these bigger studios have begun taking extraordinary measures to ensure that they won't have to do that. You may remember a few months ago, it was reported that Square Enix put out a list of guidelines of behavior they expected from gamers, and in this, it said that you would get banned from their services for being too critical. It looks like Capcom is preparing to sue people for being too critical of them.
I'll sue you for this!
In the wake of gamers decimating the Steam user score for Monster Hunter Wilds, Capcom has now issued their own list of guidelines for gamers, and they are threatening to sue people if they maliciously attack Capcom. However, if these doofuses think that this is the sort of thing that will get gamers to just roll over and let them make games that run like crap, or which are lousy with censorship, if they think that this is going to silence us, then they really don't understand their customers, because the community is never afraid to very politely say something like,
"Pardon me, but that's bullshit."
Alright, me hearties, make sure that you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We just hit another subscriber milestone, so you know what question we have to ask.
How many assholes we got on this ship anyhow?
Yo!
There are now 137,000 space pirate a-holes in our Buccaneer crew, and as is the custom on this channel, with every 1,000 subs, we add a new ship to the fleet in order to house the newcomers. This time, one of you guys recommended this ship here. This is the Britannia II from the old Lensman science fiction novels. If any of you have suggestions for future ships, drop them into the comment section below and I will add them to my long list. For your reference, I put an alphabetical list of all the ships already in the fleet into the description of this video, but in any case, thanks for being here everyone, and I will continue to do my best to earn your viewership.
I knew it, I'm surrounded by assholes.
Anyhow, let's take a look at this statement that Capcom has made, which is clearly meant to chill speech against them. I can't help but notice that this is coming right after they put out that update for Monster Hunter Wilds that was supposed to fix that game and make it function much better on PC. We covered this the other day. Monster Hunter Wilds obviously sold extremely well, at least at first, hitting over 10 million units in its first month back in March. but the game ended up being very poorly optimized and it played like crap on PC. A new update from a few weeks ago actually exacerbated the problems, and people got pissed off and started giving the game negative reviews on Steam. In response to this, Capcom released a new update just the other day in an attempt to fix this, but the negative reviews have not been reversed. In fact, ever since we covered it just a few days ago, the user score for Monster Hunter Wilds has actually gone down again. They have lost another percentage point. It's almost in net negative territory, and it wouldn't surprise me if this has caused sales to dry up quite a bit on Steam, which is likely why Capcom is pissing around with threats to sue people. But let's take a look at this notice that Capcom put out on their webpage. Keep in mind that this was originally written in Japanese. This is all filtered through Google Translate, so some of it may be lost in the translation. But the header says, how we respond to customer harassment, and then the notice itself says, we take customer opinions and requests seriously as they are indispensable for improving our products and services, and we strive to improve quality. On the other hand, we have confirmed some instances of slander, libel, denigration, intimidation, threats to harm or disrupt business, and harassment against our executives and employees by name or in a manner that recalls specific individuals via customer support desks, social media, and review/posting sites on gaming sales sites. So, talking about gaming sales sites there is a clear nod towards Steam. These guys have noticed the review scores for Monster Hunter Wilds and they're pissed. Seems to me they should fix their game. But let's read some more. Such behavior has the potential to undermine the environment in which all employees of our company can work with peace of mind and to damage their physical and mental health, and may ultimately cause trouble and inconvenience to other customers. Yes, like the inconvenience of not giving Capcom your money. But let's be real here, that is what they really dislike. But anyhow, they then say, therefore, we will respond appropriately to these acts based on our guidelines. And then down here it says, if we find any of the following behaviors that are beyond the scope of socially acceptable standards, we may refuse to provide support or services. And this echoes what Square Enix wrote a few months back, but this next part is where Capcom goes next level with it. They wrote, furthermore, in severe cases, we may contact the police or lawyers and take legal action, including criminal proceedings. So, they are threatening to sue people for behavior they don't like. And here's a list of the behavior Capcom considers to be actionable. A lot of it is pretty obvious stuff like violence, trespassing, or sexual harassment, but the thing is, they don't need a public statement like this in order to do something about those behaviors because they're already illegal. Therefore, the real intention of this statement seems to be to try to chill speech, because they specifically call out slander, libel, and defamation right away in their list at the very top there, but they also say they may sue someone for demanding special treatment, calling for someone at their company to lose their jobs, or for demanding an apology from the company. And look, I'm not a PR specialist or anything like that, but this seems pretty asinine to me. Can you imagine the blowback that would happen if a gamer wrote something on social media or on Steam saying that Capcom should apologize for making a game that isn't optimized and runs like shit, and their response is to sue that person? I don't think that would have the effect they want. I'll just say that. No, like I said, I think this is just them trying to use shock and awe to get chilled speech in response to the negative things that they've done with their games. They want to get us to shut up. And here is the likely reason why. Monster Hunter Wilds was a day one Steam release, and that platform absolutely crushed it for Capcom. It sounds like they plan to lean even more heavily into Steam moving forward, so these negative reviews for Monster Hunter Wilds are just terrible for them as a company. But I'm gonna leave it there. What do you think about this scenario? Drop your contempt for the way that Capcom appears to be operating into the comment section below, and we will talk there. Thanks for watching me, Hearties. If you haven't already, your Admiral is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.